¿Qué pasó, mi gente? Es Mark Tip 25 otra vez. Mire, guacha. Me corté el pelo, me afeité, güey. Puro suave, eh? But anyhow, guys, it's the big day. It is the Super Bowl. Super Bowl Sunday. It's going to be a hell of a matchup, guys. So I'm just kind of going to go through all the statistics. And it's not the statistics on the season, man. It's going to be like the statistics throughout the playoffs. Because, I mean, the season stats really don't matter at this point. I mean, we've been through everything, so we might as well just go through the playoff stats and kind of see where they stack up and kind of give my prediction as to who I think is going to win the Super Bowl. So anyhow, guys, mire. So we got Kansas City Chiefs versus San Francisco 49ers. What is considered one of the highest power offenses versus an extremely good defense. So we're just going to see how they stack up against each other, and I'll give my prediction as to who's going to win the Super Bowl. Alrighty, so as far as the offensive side, in passing yards for quarterbacks, just strictly the quarterbacks, Mahomes versus Garoppolo. Throughout that entire postseason, Mahomes has passed 615 yards total in passing, and that's amazing. That's astronomical. Whereas Garoppolo only has 104 passing yards. Pretty dismal, but I'll get to the reason as to why that's the case. I mean, it's really not entirely his fault, but he could probably do a little bit better. So so Mahomes with those passing yards is second, and Garoppolo was 10th as far as the postseason is concerned. As far as interceptions, Mahomes did not throw any interceptions, which is great. That's pretty efficient offense on his part. And then Garoppolo has one interception. It's not horrible, but still it's something to keep into consideration. As far as their QB ratings, Mahomes is a 131.5 and Garoppolo is an 83.6. Yeah, Mahomes is pretty much their ace in the hole as far as the offense is concerned. As far as the amount of times they've been sacked, Mahomes has been sacked twice, Garoppolo 3 times. So as far as offensive lines, I guess Kansas City's is relatively better. Relatively, I don't claim that one is entirely better than the other. But given the amount of sacks they've allowed throughout the playoffs, and then the rush, that's the thing. That's the reason why Garoppolo isn't throwing as much. I don't entirely blame him. I think it's mainly because they have a hell of a running game. Because if we look at the rushing yards, Mostert from the Niners has 278 rushing yards, which is pretty damn good. He's second in the league within the postseason. And then they have the fourth best rushing man is Coleman with 126. So they have the second and the fourth. So they're top 5 in rushing in the postseason. Whereas the Chiefs, their best rusher is Mahomes. So the QB is doing it all pretty much, with 106 rushing yards, and he's 8th in the league in the postseason. And then you have Williams, who has 92 rushing yards. He's 9th in the league. As far as touchdowns, I mean, they still get it done. The Chiefs get it done on the rushing touchdowns. They have 4 to the San Francisco 6 touchdowns in rushing. But I think still the Niners have the upper hand in the rushing stats. And then receiving, that's another thing the Kansas City Chiefs have going for them. As far as the receiving, they're in the top 10. I for the Niners, I put Samuel in there because, I mean, he was the next best receiver, probably the best receiver they have, because he was 13th in the league with 88 receiving yards. Where as far as the Chiefs, Sammy Watkins had 190. He was 5th. Cleese had 164. He was 7th. And Hill had 108. He was 10th. So they top 10 receivers in the postseason. As far as fumbles, the Chiefs, that's the thing that they struggle with. They fumbled quite a bit. They had 3, but the good thing is they know how to recover because they only lost 1 fumble. And as far as the Niners, they lost 1. I mean, they only had 1 turnover as far as fumbles were concerned. So that's pretty good. As far as the total offense for both sides, we're going to just look at total offense. As far as total yardage per game, the Kansas City Chiefs had 419. They were third in the league in the postseason. And the Niners had 331 yards, total yards. They were seventh in the league in the postseason. Points per game, the Chiefs had 43 points per game. They were first in the league as far as that was concerned. And then the Niners were third with 32 points per game. Passing yards total, as far as the passing yards, total passing yards, like 304. They were the Chiefs were second in the league with that. And then the Niners were 12th in the league with 95.5. So a huge drop-off in passing yards between the Chiefs and the Niners. And then rushing, 235.5 for the Niners, which was first in the league in the postseason. And rushing was seventh in the league for the Kansas City Chiefs with 115. So as far as offenses, I think the Chiefs have the upper hand in general, but let's not count out the rushing game for the Niners, because I think that's what's going to carry them as far as the offense. I mean, unless Garoppolo has a great day and he steps up in the pocket. Alrighty. So now as far as the defensive side, let's see. So as far as sacks, as far as players that got the most sacks per game, for Kansas City, surprisingly, everyone considers them, a high-powered offense, Kansas City. But they were really good in the playoffs defensively, because Clark was first in sacks per game with 4 sacks per game. And then for the Niners, it was Bosa, who was second in the league in the postseason with 3 sacks per game. And then for Kansas City and San Francisco, there's kind of a tie for 6th place. And I hope I don't mispronounce this name. I tried my best not to. But I think it's Passagnon, like K-P-A-S-S-A-G-N-O-N. I always say Nyon because that's like Spanish or French. Passagnon, or Passagnon, however you pronounce that, had 2 sacks per game. And then for the Niners, Armstead had 2 sacks per game. So as far as sacks, both teams are really good. So they're going to really pressure each other's quarterbacks. But we're going to have to see who's really going to handle the pressure. My money's on Mahomes, but we'll see. As far as interceptions, though, the Niners have a really good safety core and all of that, because they have Sherman at first in the league in the postseason with 2 interceptions. And Mosley had 1 interception. And as far as Kansas City, they really weren't getting any interceptions at all. I guess. Well, I mean, I only say that because I was trying to look through as far as the statistics, but it wouldn't let me scroll down any further. Maybe you could tell me how many interceptions Kansas City got, because I just couldn't see it. And then as far as fumbles, and what the defenses cause, Kansas City's defense caused 2 turnovers, and they were only able to get 1 of those turnovers. So, I mean, it's still pretty good, 50% on fumbles. But as far as the Niners, holy crap, they caused 7 fumbles. I mean, they were only able to get back 2, but the fact that you're able to get that much pressure is pretty damn amazing. So that's a pretty dangerous defense there that the Niners have. And then as far as total defense, as far as yards allowed per game, the Niners were first with 252.5 yards allowed. That's pretty good. That is pretty dang good. And as far as the Niners, they were ninth, allowing 386.5. As far as the passing yards that they allowed, the Chiefs allowed 279 yards passing, and then the Chiefs allowed 279. The Niners allowed 198.5 yards. They were 6th in the league. As far as rushing yards allowed, the Chiefs allowed 89.5 yards, which is 3rd in the league in the postseason, and the Niners were 1st with 41.5, and that's pretty damn good. That's a pretty good rushing defense. So yeah. So what does this all mean? What can we really gather from all of this? In all honesty, it's really hard to predict, but based on what I'm seeing, like I kind of like as far as the offense, they really the Chiefs really have a great passing offense. Their rushing has much to be desired, but their passing is amazing from the quarterback to the receiving core. For the Niners, it's their rushing offensive game. You know, it's just it's crazy how open these running backs can get. And I know I said that the Niners allowed like a few more sacks, but in all honesty, I think their offensive line is a lot better if you can allow the running game to be that spectacular. So I don't know, maybe they have the upper hand in that in the offense than one more than one would think. But as far as the defense, yeah, that's the San Francisco 49ers have a really amazing defense. And you know what they say, defense wins championships. But as far as what I predict, I'm going to have to give it to Kansas City. And here's why. Despite the fact that the Niners may have an amazing defense, I think Patrick Mahomes, he's a lot better than most think. He's a really good running quarterback too. Like he can pass and he can run. He's going to get you some yards no matter what. I think he's going to get his. But of course, I think once in a while the Niners are going to get an interception and a fumble. But I don't feel it's going to be quite enough. I mean, I have this game really close though, so I'm not going to say that the Niners are not going to have a chance. I think it's just going to be a really close competition. And also the reason why I think the Chiefs have an opportunity to win this is the fact that they were able to come back from a huge deficit in that Houston Texans game. Granted, the Texans are not the Niners, but if anybody can really come back from anything, it's the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes at the helm. So I really think that the Chiefs have more of an opportunity to win this game than the Niners do. And also because Garoppolo, he's a huge key in all of this. If he steps up and puts up more yardage and is smart about it, then I think the Niners have a chance. But if Garoppolo doesn't really show up and he's relying heavily on the running game, it's probably going to bite him in the ass a bit. But what do I know? These are just my predictions, and I'm just kind of basing this off of what I see from the statistics. Because again, I think the Kansas City defense is not as bad as most people think. They're actually a really good defense. Like the fact that they were able to get that much sacks per game, it's still pretty good. Like they're pretty much neck and neck as far as their linebackers and stuff like that. They're really neck and neck. So I think it's going to be a really, really fantastic game. As far as the ultimate score, I really think it's going to end up being Kansas City 27, San Francisco 24. It's going to be decided by a field goal. I didn't mention kickers because I really don't know much about their kickers. I mean, whether they're good enough or not, you would hope that they can withstand the pressure to at least kick a decent field goal, right? But we'll see. We'll see. But that's my prediction, 27-24, but it's going to be a really, really good game. I don't think it's going to be high scoring at all. I mean, that's a decent score. It's not low, but it's not super high either. But yeah, those are my predictions. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Suscríbale a mi canal y hasta el próximo, mi gente. Adiós.